Hello and welcome to the vlog. You're getting a floor perspective again. I would love to give you a different perspective, but there's a dog sleeping on my chair, so I'm gonna have to sit on the floor for this one. But yeah, I thought I'd start the vlog. My partner just went out to do a whiskey tasting with some of his work colleagues, so I have the evening for myself at home, which is a nice thing and a really rare thing. So yeah, I thought I'd give you an update and start the vlog. I finished a book today and it was actually a 5-star read, which I'm really happy about, and that is A Diary of Blood. I'm gonna quickly tell you what it's about. I started it last week, but you probably, I don't know, most people probably haven't seen the vlog from last week, so yeah, this is pretty much Dracula's story. Oh well, it's not Dracula's story, it's Constanta's story, and she is the first wife of Dracula. Well, yeah, she's the first wife. There is something in the story with that, but yeah. And it's pretty much, she's writing like a sort of diary letter type thing to Dracula, and that is what this book is, and she starts when she turns her and then she ends at the end. And I absolutely loved this book. It is an adult book. There are some content warnings in here because it is an abusive relationship, and also there's a lot of adult activity, like adult bedroom activity in here, with multiple partners, so yeah, either you like that or you don't. I personally enjoy it in books, so I had a really fun time with this one. I'm just gonna say that. Yeah, I loved it. I don't really know what else to say. I love the writing style. It is by S.C. Gibson. I have never read anything else from them. So yeah, I'm kinda have to look up other books by them, just because I don't know any. But yeah, I absolutely loved this. I think it's a really great story about just how a relationship can both be loving and abusive at the same time, and how, yeah, and how hard abusive relationships can be, but with like fictional characters, which I absolutely love. And I, for one, am a big fan of the Dracula books. This obviously isn't in the same realm as Dracula itself, because it is a modern book, and obviously there are themes in here that aren't in the original Dracula book. But yeah, I mean, it is a queer book, so yeah, you have all the different combinations, and obviously in the original Dracula he didn't sleep with men. So stuff like that, but I for one thought that it made the story really interesting, and also on Goodreads is listed as part 1, so I'm thinking maybe it will go in like a different direction in part 2, like I don't really know what part 2 would be, but I'm really interested in definitely picking that up, and yeah. Really big fan, and I'm really happy about that, because I obviously got it in, well, not obviously, I got it in a book box and I didn't know anything about it, and I just really love it when I get like a book in a box, and I absolutely love it to bits, so yeah. Now, next I really need to pick up The Way of Kings Part 2. But in all honesty, just because I know that like Monday through Wednesday I don't really tend to read much, I don't know if I want to start that and then only get to read like 30-40 pages a day, which I hate doing with those big books. I really like reading like 100-150 pages at one time. So I'm not quite sure if I shouldn't pick up like a smaller book for like today through Wednesday and then start The Way of Kings on Thursday, or if I just should stick with my audiobook for that time and just not pick up a physical book. So I haven't really decided on that yet. I listened to quite a bit of the audiobook yesterday, which is Nevernight, is what I'm currently listening to. And I think 6.5 hours into it, and it's 20 hours long, I think. So not quite at the halfway point, and I've already read it to the halfway point, so I'm still at things I do still remember. But yeah, I'm enjoying that one. I have to say, even in the second read through, I'm not like the most interested in it. I think it is a cool concept, Nevernight. But yeah, something is just a little bit off for me. I don't know what, but hopefully I will like it in the end completely. Might check in with you later on, depending on what I do in a minute. But yeah, I also have to say I'm really in the mood to pick a different audiobook. I don't know. I don't think Nevernight really is a series for me. You know, just now thinking about putting the audiobook back on, I'm just like, I'm not really in the mood for that. So you know what, I might just pick a new audiobook and be happier with that. I might just at some point have to say no to Nevernight. I really do want to read it because I think it's quite the popular series. Let me just look it up on Goodreads. But I do think it's quite popular. Yeah, it's just some of those popular series I can't get into. The same with Shadow and Bone. Couldn't get into that one. Loved Six of Crows, but Shadow and Bone just wasn't it. But yeah, I get the feeling that Nevernight also isn't for me. Which is sad, but it happens, you can't like everything, so you know what, I will choose a new audiobook. I don't know why. I feel like sometimes I have to force myself to read things just because they're popular, and it kind of sucks, to be honest. I think that is one of those things social media does to people. I don't know. I mean, I am thinking about doing like some reading vlogs this year about like with like topics that I don't normally read. For example, like reading romance books, which I normally don't read, just to see if I can find some that I would enjoy, and making like a themed reading vlog out of that. But yeah, I mean, I usually enjoy fantasy quite a bit, but I don't know. Sometimes I just can't get into things, so I might put Nevernight on hold again a second time, and yeah, just do something else. So yeah, I will definitely check in with you later on and tell you if I did pick something else up, you know, so yeah. I will see you then. I'm sorry for rambling. So it is still Sunday, it's now evening, and I just listened to a complete audiobook, which is why I thought I'd give you another check-in today. I didn't really know what I wanted to listen to, and yeah, I looked for a long time, and then I found one that was pretty short, obviously. It was only 3 hours and 20 minutes, so I listened to it on 175 speed. So yeah, roughly 2 hours for me. And it's called A Splintered by Alex E. Harrow, and it's pretty much well, a changed retelling of Sleeping Beauty, and our main character is has like well, she's deathly ill. She has like a fault in her DNA because like some corporation doing bullshit and harming pregnant women essentially, and so she's born with this gene defect, and everyone with that dies at 21. Well, somewhere between 21 and 22, so they never reach 22. And it is her 21st birthday, and because her friends, she and her friends always like joke about the comparison to Sleeping Beauty. Her birthday is Sleeping Beauty themed, and she pricks her finger on a spindle and she tumbles through like this portal thing and lands in the world of a different Sleeping Beauty. And essentially the story is about, well, feminism, women saving themselves, and maybe a curse not really being a curse, depending on how you look at it. And yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I have to be honest, I think this is one of the stories that would have been better if they would have been longer. I think it was too short in the end, because everything was really, really fast going, but in the book a lot of the times, like, they mention that like, this isn't like the Disney fairy tales, like, where everything is like really happy and there's always a good ending, but then after like a little bit of difficulty, then there is a good ending, and then there is something good happening, which is kind of weird, you know, if you wanted to go more into fairy tales being really, really dark, which is talked about in here. But yeah, if you want to go more into that, then don't make it a really quick happy ending after that. I think that was weird. And also, how on earth does she have phone signal in a parallel fairy tale world? That makes the whole story so unbelievable dumb in the end that, yeah, that kind of bothered me. Other than that, I kind of like the tone in which the story is told. It's like really lighthearted. But yeah, in the end, I think it's an interesting story, but I wish it would have been longer and a little bit more thought through. I think like she's texting with a friend while in the parallel world that is really medieval. So I have no idea how that is supposed to work, and so that does make the remainder of the story a little bit dumb. So yeah. But yeah, I finished an audiobook. So yeah, I will definitely tomorrow continue with Nevernight. You know, I can't find really anything else that I want to listen to now, and I also have the problem, some books I just think are better for me to read physically than to listen to, and a lot of the books I could have lent from my library are exactly those that I think are better physically read, so I won't lend them because I don't want to listen to them, or at least I don't think it would be good to listen to them. So yeah, I will probably continue with Nevernight. Maybe I will get into it at some point. I mean, you can always hope, right? And then also I picked a newer, shorter book for like the next few days, which is this one, The Red Scholar's Wake, which is described as a space opera romance book. I know that The Way of Kings Part 2 is on my list for this month still, and I will try to get that done after this one, but I need something else right now. I'm not there to start a 600-page book, I have to be honest. And yeah, this one fits with my, well, I haven't really made it an official goal, but it fits with my goal to read the BookBox books a lot faster after I get them in the box, and this is one of the last ones I got. So I thought this is rather short and I want to know what it's about, because I really like space operas. Romance not so much, but maybe it will work in a space opera, so yeah. It has something to do with a woman getting captured and the other woman, I think, that is in the main character in the book being one of the persons that have something to do with the capture. So yeah, it's something in that direction. I will tell you more once I've started reading it, but man, I have to say I really love those special editions. They're so pretty. But yeah, I will... Okay, it is Monday afternoon. I just finished recording my video from Wednesday. I did kind of a little bit of a different format for Wednesday because I'm really in the mood to talk about authors and just like the books I've read from them, what I think about them, and if I would recommend them, and maybe for whom I would recommend them. So yeah, I did that with Tolkien, and we'll see if I can make like a coherent video out of that. But yeah, I kind of like the idea. Let's see how it will go down. I'm a little bit afraid that it might be a bad idea, but we'll see. I'm still kind of new to all of this, and yeah, I'm just doing what I think, well, what I enjoy, and yeah, we'll see if you all like it. But yeah, that means I finished work and I did record the video, so I will now clean up from doing the video, and then I will probably read my book, which I showed you yesterday. I would show it to you now, but I put it in the bedroom yesterday and I don't want to pick it up now. But yeah, I will read a little bit of that now, and then well, I will enjoy the rest of the evening. We get our groceries delivered today, so those will come at some point today. I also finally ordered some new hair color, so I will I will finally redo my hair this week. Took me long enough to buy a new one, but sometimes I'm just really slow in getting new hair color because I'm always having a hard time deciding what I should put in my hair next. But yeah, I've gone for Deep Purple by Directions, so we'll see how that will work out, but that should come tomorrow, so I will probably color my hair on Wednesday, I think, and then yeah, I will show you what it will look like, and hopefully hopefully it will look good, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I will now go to the living room again, because it is really dark down here actually, and up there we have like a really big window. It's like 5 meters tall, so two floors is the window, and that is a lot better lighting for reading, so I will do that, and I will probably see you tomorrow. I doubt that I will do another check-in today, because my partner has an online conference for his university studies today, and they are he's having his tests on Thursday and Saturday, so I do want to be really quiet so that his sole attention is on his class, and yeah, I don't want to be really loud then, you know. So yeah, I will see you then, and let's hope that the book that I've picked up is actually good and I will enjoy it. I did read like the first 5 pages yesterday, and it did start like really abrupt, which I found kind of interesting, so let's hope it's good. Good evening. It is Tuesday evening. I haven't read anything today, but I did read quite a bit yesterday, and there's a reason I haven't continued today. This is The Red Scholar's Wake, which I started yesterday, and it's pretty much a story where our main character was captured by pirates, and ships have like ship mines that can, well, they can have like a body, but they are the ship, but they were humans originally, and then they're put in like a, well, they're somehow made into ship mines, as far as I understand. And yeah, and so the ship that has captured her wife has died, and she was one of the pirate clan's leaders, and our main character is pretty much like picked up by them as a prisoner, and there's no way she can go back to her old life, because as soon as you're picked up by a pirate, you're pretty much done for. Either you become a pirate or you get endangered, or you get like, well, pretty much a slave that can buy himself out of slavery, but you can never go back to your old life because you will always count as a pirate in normal society, which is like a really weird thing. And so the ship needs the skills of the prisoner because she wants to figure out why her wife died. And to do that, she pretty much says to our main character, well, let's do a marriage contract because I want your help and I can give you the most protection that way. And we'll go from there, but it is like just a contract to help me. And then it's a romance book. And so, you know, pretty much from the beginning, you know, she gets captured and she has feelings instantly for the ship mind. And I'm already not like a big romance reader. And I'm now 80 pages in, which is, or 90 pages, which is like roughly a third of the book. And yeah, I really don't enjoy it at the moment. And I don't know, that makes it kind of hard because it is, I don't have a problem with instant romance, to be honest, but I don't think, I don't know, it's really, really weird in this context because both parts admit to having feelings, like not to each other, but to the reader. And so you know they both have feelings, but they're both like, oh no, we have a contract, we shouldn't get involved, and all of those things. But then she's the captive and she was forced into a contract, and it is so weird, to be honest. So yeah, I'm gonna put it down. I'm not gonna continue to read it. I don't DNF it just yet. I want to come back to it at like a different moment, but not now. It's just, I won't continue reading it. I pretty much like didn't read today just because I didn't want to pick it up, and so I've decided I can't do that. I won't continue with it. So yeah, I will stop reading that. I'm really sorry. I have no idea what is up with him right now. Was los, Großer? Holz! Geh, Holz! I don't think he knows what he wants right now. So yeah, and technically I do still need to read The Way of Kings Part 2, but in all honesty, I'm just not in a headspace for such a big fantasy book. I just can't do it right now. I'm way too exhausted from work, and yeah, I want to enjoy that book, you know? I don't want to force myself to read it and then not enjoy it because I'm not in the right mind. So yeah, I now have to pick a new book that is hopefully better and that I hopefully will enjoy. So I will do that now, and then I will come back to you, and then I have to put the battery on the loading station because it's blinking at me. But yeah, I will first pick a book and talk to you. Okay, so I've chosen a book, and just because of how I'm feeling right now, I needed a comfort read, and to be honest, a new book I just can't do when I need a comfort read, so I decided to read The Hobbit. I just really need something I already know right now. So we're gonna do that, and then I will do a check-in tomorrow with you. And hopefully I'm in a better mood when it comes to reading and everything, you know? So I will now read that, and I will see you tomorrow. Okay, so quick check-in time. I did my roots. They're really, really yellow, but it doesn't matter, so yeah, I'm looking a little bit weird right now, but I thought I'd do a quick check-in before actually coloring my hair, because I will use the time the hair color needs to sit to read, and I just wanted to do a little check-in before that. So I did start The Hobbit yesterday. I'm only 50 pages in, primarily because my dog decided to sleep on me in my chair, and he was lying on my arm that held the book, and I really didn't want to wake him. I'm gonna put like a photo in here so I can, it was really, really cute, and I didn't want to wake him, so I just chilled with him an hour, and we just cuddled a lot, so I only read 50 pages, and then I decided to pick up with The Way of Kings Part 2. I've only read like 10 pages, but it's the, I don't know the name in English, the stuff that does your hair blonde set, and so yeah, but I decided I will just read both, a little bit of this and then a little bit more of that, so I don't feel too overwhelmed with this one, to be honest, because at the moment I'm still feeling a little bit overwhelmed with reading new books. I don't know, it happens sometimes. Sometimes I just put a little bit too much pressure on my reading, and yeah. I'm enjoying both, so I will continue with these. Once my hair color is setting in, and then Once I'm done and my hair is dry again tonight, I will show you how it looks. But yeah, I'm gonna do like a purple. Hopefully it turns out how I'm hoping it turns out, but we'll see. And yeah, I will do that now, and then I will see you all later. Okay, I'm now done with coloring my hair, and I think I'm happy enough. As you can see, my roots obviously look quite different than the rest because the blue did come through quite a bit, but I'm happy. I think it looks better than the washed out blue, to be honest. And yeah, I did do a little bit of reading whilst that was setting in, and then I ate some dinner and played a little bit of clicker games because I can't do anything else with the shitty hand. And yeah, whilst I was coloring my hair, my fairy loot came, so I thought I would quickly unbox the book. And yeah, let's see what's in there. Hopefully something interesting. Okay, so the theme is Sinister Secrets. So, ooh, that, oh, look at that. Those edges are to die for. Camera, focus. Oh, they look so good. The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Shokshi. I heard of that author before, but I don't think I've read anything by the author. A really pretty book. Sadly, the dust jacket is a little bit crumpled on the ends, but yeah, I think that can happen quite easily in the package. Oh, that is a pretty book. Let's see how it's looking. Oh yeah. I'm such a sucker for the foil embossed ones. It's just, I just absolutely love those. Let me quickly read what it's about. Okay, so if you have we have a married couple, and he's sort of like a storyteller, scholarly type. And she is an heiress to a fortune, and they live happily ever after, but she made him promise to not dig into her past. And then an aunt of hers dies, and she has to go back to her childhood home and brings him with her, obviously. And yeah, there seems to be some secrets, some lies, a dark past, and once they're in her childhood home, he can't seem to not pry into her past. So yeah, it's kind of a love story, romance type thing. It's compared to Mexican Gothic and The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue, kind of combined, and in all honesty, I didn't love either. I still haven't finished the Eddie LaRue. I've read like half of it, and Mexican Gothic I wasn't the biggest fan, so well, let's cross our fingers that I will like this one. Maybe the combination works. Because I did like some things about Mexican Gothic, just not everything, so yeah, we'll see. But at least this is an incredibly pretty book, and I'm really loving the cover and the stenciled edges. So yeah, I will read this as soon as I can, because I do want to get through those and not have them stand in my shelves for as long as they are. But yeah, I will now probably continue to read The Hobbit. I'm currently on the scene with Gollum and the riddles and stuff, and I'm absolutely loving it. So yeah, I will continue with that, and then I will see you. Happy Saturday! I haven't talked to you in the last 2 days, and let me get you a little bit closer. Yeah, I haven't talked to you in the last 2 days. And to be honest, on Thursday I just, my health wasn't it, and I felt really shitty the whole day, so I didn't think that filming was a good idea, and I had to like cancel my escape date with my best friend and stuff, and so yeah, it just wasn't a good place. And then on Friday morning we actually went to the Green Week here in Berlin, and to be honest, there was less food this year and more like alcohol, which is fine. I did buy myself some Finnish mint vodka, which tasted really, really good. But yeah, it was a little bit sad. My partner and my mother-in-law ate really, really good there, but yeah, vegan food just wasn't that much there this year. But what I did find was some really nice tasting vegan fudge from like a British manufacturer, and that tasted so good. I took some home for myself, and yeah, I'm really happy about that, to be honest. And also I tasted some really nice tasting plantain chips, which I have never had in my life, and those tasted really, really good, but they weren't allowed to sell them because they were standing in like a whole room for like innovation and stuff. And in those rooms they aren't allowed to sell their product, which was really sad, but I will actually buy myself some online and then get them shipped here, just so I have some more, because they taste really, really nice. And I'm such a snack person that some plantain chips actually are a really nice alternative to potato chips. So yeah, but we were there for like 6 hours and I was so KO after that, and so done that I actually didn't really do much yesterday. So yeah, we are now here on Saturday with a little bit of an update. I haven't read that much more from The Hobbit. I'm 90 pages into it now. Yeah, Bilbo is back with the dwarves and chaos is coming. But I did pick up one complete book and I want to talk about it a little bit, which means a little bit long, but I have to talk about it. I have a lot to say about this book. I have a lot of thoughts about it. And yeah, I actually read The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. And I don't know, I do think that I told you that it sounds like a romance book when I unboxed it, which I think the unboxing is in this video still, so I read it really quickly, which is a goal for me this year. So I'm really happy with that, but I have so much to say about this book. First things first, it's gonna contain a lot of spoilers, what I'm gonna say, so here is the spoiler warning. If you want to read this book, pick it up without spoiling yourself, because the book banks on you not knowing what is gonna happen. This is not a book you can read a second time, it won't hit as hard the second time. You have to know pretty much nothing to really get the story. So if you want to read it, it is a book about fairy tales and a marriage. I won't say more about it. If you want to read it, skip until this time. I'm gonna put the time here when you can come back, or just click off the video. But yeah, I don't want to spoil you that. That being said, now let's talk about it with all of the spoilers. I gave this book 4 stars. I actually enjoyed it way more than I thought. I personally don't think that the comparisons in here, which are The Life of Eddie LaRue, The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue, and Mexican Gothic actually make sense, to be honest. I wouldn't compare it to that. And then I also found out, I don't know why I didn't recognize the name, but I actually already read a book by Roshani Chokshi, and that is The Gilded Wolves, and I absolutely disliked that book. I gave it 2 stars because I didn't want to give it 1 star. I didn't like the characters at all, and I didn't like their relationships, and yeah, hated the book. But I didn't hate it, but I really disliked it. After I found that out, which was before I started this, I was really afraid that I also wouldn't like this. But yeah, I actually did like it, but there's a really, really big but connected to this book, and I think you have to be careful. If I would describe the story in like 1 sentence, it would be all about abusive relationships. Because this book is one big abusive relationship. And I understand the ending, but I don't think that the ending is unproblematic. And I think it's a topic we have to talk about, and so far that the book, well, the book talks about abuse, and there's a lot of abuse in this book. And let's start with what it's about. And this is spoiler-filled, I can't do it any other way. We have 3 characters. The book changes between 2 points of view. And we have our male main character, which is the husband of the story, and he is called, let me tell you... You know what? I have no idea if we ever get the name of the husband. Yeah, you know what? I don't think we get to know the name of the husband. His chapters are always with the header The Bridegroom, and I actually don't think we know the name of him, which is really interesting. I didn't realize that the whole thing through. Well, we have the husband, let's call him that. And then we have Indigo, which is the woman he marries. And at the beginning we only have the point of view of the husband. And he kind of tells you how he meets Indigo because he is a scholar of fairy tales and mythology and lore and stuff like that. And he wants to explore like a book or writing, and the only known copy is in the hands of Indigo Maxwell. But she's called Maxwell Castaneda. And she has pretty much the only surviving copy. And so he writes her a letter or mail, and she is like, yeah, I really want to see it, would you do that? And at the beginning he just writes the corporation because Indigo is like the heiress to a hotel empire, more or less. And so yeah, he writes the company, they don't answer him, and at some point he just always writes back and writes back and writes back because he really needs that book. And at some point Indigo answers and she's like, yeah, well, let's meet. And they meet and they fall in love instantly. Well, our husband at least does. Indigo looked him up beforehand. He didn't even know that Indigo was a woman. He thought it was a man. And yeah, they meet, they fall in love, they marry rather quickly. And his whole life changes. And then you get the point of view of Azure. And at the beginning I was like, why? We have the husband and Indigo. Where's Azure come in? And she portrays a parallel story to our husband. And husband and Indigo do a lot of games about gods and mortals and beasts. They kind of like play the myth in the bedroom and outside of the bedroom, and their relationship consists of fear and love intertwined, which I found problematic from the beginning. And Indigo kind of is a little bit abusive. It's a thing where I think maybe like generations before us maybe wouldn't see it as abusive as I do, but for example, he pries into her history, and his wedding was that he wouldn't pry because she didn't want to tell him about her history. But you know, if you marry a person, you kind of want to know about what happened before you got to know them, and she says something which he finds interesting, and he says pretty much just the wrong sentence, and she leaves him for 8 days. She doesn't tell him where she goes, and she just goes up, leaves, and no communication, nothing, for him asking a question. And she comes back after 8 days and she's pretty much like, yeah, do you fear losing me? And she's like, yes, please take me back. And they go back to before. And I think that is quite the abusive behavior, you know. And then we meet Azure. And Azure turns out as the childhood best friend of Indigo. And she moves to the island where Indigo originally lived with her mother and the boyfriend of the mother. And you have to know, Indigo's parents died when she was really, really young, and she lives with her aunt on that island. And they met when they're really, really young. They are still in elementary school, and pretty much Azure just stumbles up on the house where Indigo lives, and she meets Indigo, and she's in love with her from first sight, even as children. And the boyfriend of her mother, who's called Jupiter, is really abusive towards Azure. And there isn't anything like that there isn't any assault that happens. Well, not any assault in the bedroom that happens. At least not depicted in the book, but there are a lot of like touching here, touching there. She doesn't want to be in a room with him. Like all of those little things where you listen up and are like, okay, there's a really abusive relationship here. And her mother doesn't do anything. And Azure pretty much goes to Indigo, and she pretty much lives there just to not be at home. And even in those childhood years, because the point of view Azure tells is pretty much from when they meet to when they turn 18, because there's something happening then. And our husband pretty much finds out slowly her history, and they end at the same point where she's 18. He finds out what happens then. And pretty much Indigo gets more and more abusive, even in those younger years. For example, she loves Bump Azure a lot, and she has money because her parents left her a fortune, and there's money coming in from the hotels and stuff. And she just buys clothes, and she clothes Azure because she doesn't get that many fancy, but really any clothes at home, and so she clothes her. And at the same point, she's just so mean to her. She dictates what they do, and she just like always says what they have to do, and if they don't do what she wants, she's just like, yeah, you can leave. Just go. I don't want to see you anymore. But obviously Azure at that point is already really like under her fangs, and she sees this life that she also wants to have. And yeah, there's all of that. To be honest, Indigo is just like a really abusive person, in my opinion. But then comes the thing. On the 18th birthday, pretty much Azure and Indigo live in this fairy tale world, and they are determined that by the age of 18 they will go to the other world as fairies. And Azure thinks that's pretty much just like a ceremony, and then they live immortal with the fairies and aren't human anymore. But Indigo all the time planned that they should kill themselves together. Which I think that is the ultimate abusive behavior, to be honest, to take someone with you in this really like... It is a fantasy world they're thinking about, and it is a really weird thing. And the end, and this is now the biggest spoiler, but in the end it turns out the Indigo that our husband married isn't actually Indigo. It's Azure, because Indigo tried to kill her on her 18th birthday so they could both die, and she saved herself, but in doing that Indigo actually hit her head and died. And she covered that up, and because the two looked so similar, she she wanted to say that she's Azure, and she goes to the aunt of Indigo, but she's blind at that point, and she doesn't realize that it's Azure and not Indigo. And so Azure just claims the life of Indigo, and she turns into this abusive personality that our husband has met. And in the end he can understand her, because he thought he'd had a brother, but his parents told him, no, you don't. There wasn't a brother, and he really doubts himself the whole time. And in the end it turns out, yes, he had a brother. His parents are dead at the point of the book, but his brother died because of a play accident, and his family also was really abusive towards him, both mother and father, and they kind of covered it up and just made it seem like there never was a second son. And just because of that having happened to him, he's fine that it's Azure that he married, and that she said that she's Indigo, and he doesn't mind the abuse. And he just gets back together with her, even though she tried to kill him for finding out her secret. And that is the thing that I have a problem with, because I can understand, I have to be honest, I have never been in an abusive relationship. I'm really, really thankful for that. When it comes to that, I'm really privileged and never had to endure something like that. And so I can't really talk about it like that, you know, because I don't have the experience. But I think if you find something out like that about your wife and he does see how abusive Indigo is, it's not that he doesn't realize it, but he's like, but I love her. And in the end, he just goes back to her, even though he just realized that she grew up with abuse, just like him. But instead of like realizing how abusive everything was and being better to him, she just turns as abusive as Indigo was actually. And now Azure, that is the new Indigo, is just as abusive as Indigo. And even she as well realized how abusive Indigo was when they were 16, 17, and she tried to flee, but she couldn't go through with it. And so yeah, I have a really big problem with the fact that it's just so glossed over in the end that everybody here was really abusive, except for her husband. He doesn't seem to have done anything wrong other than, yeah, he pried into her history. He pried into the person she was before, and there's this really dark secret that obviously could have destroyed him, and in the end it's just like, yeah, I still love you, you're still my wife. But yeah, I still gave it 4 stars because just the whole thing is so interesting. And yeah, I don't know. As you can see, I had it was an adventure reading that book, and to be honest, I wouldn't describe it as a romance novel. I mean, it is a novel about love and abuse, but for me, romance is something really different. Yeah, I'm not a romantic person, so maybe that comes into that, but yeah, I wouldn't describe it as a romance novel now that I've read it. And actually, I wouldn't even describe it as a fantasy novel, and it is a novel I enjoyed. I would say it's just a contemporary novel, because everything fantasy-ish that happens in the story actually is explained rationally. Like, yeah, okay, the house has feelings. The house Indigo grew up in is the House of Dreams, and they always talk about it kind of like, yeah, the house is happy or the house is sad, and I think you can actually describe feelings to where you live like that, but I think it comes from the people within, not the house itself, you know. But in the end, I don't think there's any fantasy in there other than that all of the people in the story have delusions of some kind. When it comes to fairy tales and fairies and all of that, you know. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed that book, and I'm happy that I found another book that isn't sci-fi or fantasy per se that I actually enjoyed. And it is kind of a romance novel, but kind of also not. And yeah, I'm really happy that I've read that book so shortly after getting it in the first thing, and then the second thing, I really thought I wouldn't like it, and I really like it. So yeah, I will actually, once she comes out with the next book, I will actually look into it then, but because I think just that the heist aspect of the Gilded Wolves just didn't work for me, and actually her writing style and everything does work for me. I just have to find the right story by her, and so I'm really happy about that. And yeah, that were the last few days, and a lot of talk about The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. And yeah. I'm sorry, I just had to let all of my thoughts out about that book. Because I don't think it's fair to do like a review video of it, just because all of the spoilers are talked about here. And I do want people to read it before knowing the spoilers, you know. But yeah, I will actually end the vlog here now, because I edited my Wednesday's video just now, and I also want to get the vlog done, to be honest, so that I can upload it tomorrow. Well, upload it today, but like release it tomorrow. And yeah, I actually did my TBR video, that is what's coming out on Wednesday, and I bought one book for it. So I got this one new, which is The Bite by John Espo. This is supposed to be a good thriller, and it is a series. The character is called Harry Hole, the detective. About him, the series is about him, and this was recommended to me on Instagram, and because yeah, I wanted to read a thriller, and I thought, why not get one that was recommended to me. Because if it is a good one, I can then continue with the series, because I know they are rather cheap and I can get them, and so yeah, I think that is quite a nice buy. And yeah, this week was kind of all over the place. I had a hard time reading, and yeah, I feel like with starting work and stuff, I have a hard time choosing books that I'm actually interested in reading at the moment. So yeah, hopefully that will continue to get better, but we'll see. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And yeah, I will see you in the next one.